From Bitcoin, blockchain or distributed ledger technology to cryptocurrencies, tokens and initial coin offerings, it seems everyone involved has something to say, but can you really trust their advice? One man's had enough of weasel words and charlatans and is ready to give you impartial, independent analysis. With digestible blockchain bites, ICO analysis and need-to-know news on cryptocurrencies, author, speaker, transparency and clarity advocate and award-winning software innovator Barry James brings you Radio ICO.
This is Barry James again for ICO Radio with the Blockchain Bites program, and today I've got one of the pioneers around ICOs, bringing new services to this whole ecosystem. I'm delighted to have Mark Kirby of Crypto Lounge. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Token Lounge is Token Lounge.
Token Lounge, I beg your pardon. I must get that right, Token Lounge. Well, you got 3 mentions already, so that's not bad. So would you mind telling us a little bit about, first of all, a bit about your background and how you came to this, and then a bit about Token Lounge?
Okay, so my background from a young age was supply chain and logistics. Spent 10 years in that field. From doing that, a lot of my clients were of the, would you say, kind of high net worth basis, where they were looking at alternative investments. We kind of had a bit of fun looking at some different commodities, found a unique introduction to art. And then we started looking at different things, and blockchain or cryptocurrencies, and especially Bitcoin, was at that point of becoming a little bit familiar to the more traditional finance world. So we started looking at opportunities within that, and then I got approached by a friend of mine who was looking at setting up an advisory. So we worked with some ICOs over the last probably 10 months. One of the largest ones was a company called Naga. They IPO'd last June and did an ICO in November last year. Was very successful. They had one of the largest participants of over 63,000 crypto investors. Wow. And from that point, we kind of gained a lot of knowledge and experience within the field. Since then, the ICO industry has kind of flipped itself on its head, more on the terms of it's not really towards the crowdfunding anymore. It's more around private sale and pre-sale. With some of the larger institutions coming into play, they're swallowing it all up. So as a new insider, or from a traditional finance background into blockchain, and with the team that we've got at Token Lounge, from a developer's point of view, there was an opportunity to create a community. Now, blockchain is all about community, right? So we kind of thought long and hard of how we could structure it. We are two of the developers who are part of Token Lounge. They created two products, which we saw as a very inviting opportunity to market it throughout the industry, and start building a community from people who are doing ICOs to the smaller crypto investors, but also still providing opportunities for the private individuals and the larger institutions that still want to find investment opportunities.
Great. Yeah. So let me get this as clear as I can for listeners. So you're providing services and tools both for the ICOs themselves,
yes,
but also for investors.
Correct.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what that means from a potential investor point of view.
So if you look at let's look at the smaller investors. I say smaller investors, and they're not small investors. They're the active crypto investors. These are the guys who are constantly reading white papers. They're constantly trying to find a project which has a good user case study, where the team has a good background within their industry, and they're trying to provide a solution utilizing blockchain technology, and maybe implementing a token within that. So what we've done, as I said earlier on, with private sale and pre-sale becoming one of the major fundraising parts of the project, a lot of these investors don't get opportunity. So hence why pools were created. Now there's a lot of great pools out there. However, we saw a way of securing investment utilizing smart contracts. So what we've done is, with Token Lounge, we've built our own technology. We've written our own smart contracts to provide that opportunity for the investor to gain access to a private sale or a pre-sale, gain the bonus structure that ICO has in place, and to invest directly in a trustless way.
Okay, so is this something for a specialist investor, or is this something the man in the street could access?
It depends on the requirements of the ICO. We all know that there are certain jurisdictions that cannot invest. We are also very aware of how the SEC created a little bit of a moment in the industry saying that everything's now a security. Now, from our point of view, being a security isn't an issue. It just means that KYC and AML needs to be looked at a little bit more depth. So I don't see any problems with investors getting being able to invest, as long as they pass the KYC and AML element.
And can potential investors approach you at Token Lounge, or do you is it just the ones that are already in your pool?
No, so the actual setup of investment is, so we don't provide any advice. All we do is we purely advertise the ICOs that either Token Lounge or our partners are working on. We find it's one of our key objectives is to make sure that if you are an investor and you would like to gain access to ICOs, then we see Token Lounge as that platform where you get access. You're able to read up on their information, and you invest directly with the ICO itself through the smart contracts.
No, the reason I ask is obviously there's likely to be people listening to this who'd like to come to Token Lounge and get into the game. How should they do that?
So we have, so you can register through the websites. Upon registering, you do have to go through KYC and AML, and then you will then gain access to our list of ICOs that we are advertising on our website. You can click into each one. It provides you with the full structure of whether you've got the opportunity to buy in a private sale or pre-sale, what the bonus structure is, and what the minimum investment is as well. Each one is completely different because certain ICOs have certain limitations, but again, it's a great way of gaining access to good qualified ICOs.
Great. Okay. And we'll come on to the URLs and how people can get there towards the end. But now turning to the other side, so let's talk about the ICOs as well. So you've got quite a range of services and some widgets and gadgets that are pretty innovative too, I believe. Just tell us a bit about the breadth of that to begin with.
Okay, so as I keep mentioning, the whole community is quite viral, really, with what everyone's doing. It's quite easy to start getting a good reputation as much as it is getting a bad reputation. However, we've managed to secure some really good partners, people who have completed ICOs, people who advised ICOs, people who are part of funds. And what we've kind of been able to do is surround ourselves with people who can support us and support us in the right way, so that everyone's not an expert in this industry. It's impossible to be that. So you need to surround yourselves with talent. If you can surround yourselves with good talent, then you can be productive. You can make sure that you're providing the best guidance and information to someone doing an ICO and support them in the right way.
Yeah.
So we provide elements of that service. So we have our own internal advisory set up. We help support ICOs that need their on the white paper. We help with the smart contracts and the tokenomic structure if they are doing a token generation event. And then what we do is we work with them to create a roadmap, which allows them to, from start to pretty much private sale, be able to make sure that they've got the right teams behind them, managing their specific areas. And then when they go into private sale, there's awareness. The platform is running. There might even be an alpha version running, which is also great. But we've been able to make sure that from an investor point of view, there's a viable business, and the business has a business plan. Exactly the same thing as you would do in traditional worlds. If you wanted to raise money, you'd have to have a solid business plan. So we make sure that these companies do have that, and we support them not just leading up to the private sale, and not even just up to when the ICO is complete, but post ICO is when the magic happens. That's when you want to make sure that the team are doing what they should be doing. They're recruiting and bringing in the people that they need. And again, they're constantly working on their roadmap to make sure that they're spending the money that they've raised in the right areas, and they're just growing the business to achieve what they've set out to achieve.
Okay, so it's right the way through, from very early stage right the way through. And if someone was thinking about running an ICO and wanting to do it the right way, what sort of budget do you think they would need? What would you say?
I think that budget wise it's very hard to actually state what kind of budget they would need, if I'm totally honest. One key element to doing a successful ICO is making sure that, first of all, you have good background in that field. Okay, there might be elements where you come up with an idea and it's a fantastic idea, but what you need to be able to do is be able to focus on where the business is going to go and how you're going to market that within the industry. Marketing and PR is probably your biggest cost.
Yeah.
Again, you need to be careful of who you're using, because people know that and they could overcharge you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
So one key thing is to be able to work with the right partners.
Yeah.
People who are successful, people who have the contacts with the right publishers that know what to write in an article. Because that's the only way that they're going to gain access to the crypto world, and the people who are going to be using the platform, right?
Yeah. Okay. So any indication at all of what that might be overall in terms of, if
anything from
investor to help them do this, say?
So if you was doing an ICO, you're probably looking at your costs to do it probably 4 or 5% of your total raise. You probably need to allocate for costs.
Okay. Good to have a guideline. Thank you. So let's talk widgets, because there's something really interesting and very innovative that you've created here, isn't there? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So again, when companies do an ICO, most 99% of the time they haven't done one before, so it's very new to them. They've either got to acquire a very, very good team to get everything set up, or they can come to the Token Lounge. The reason why we say that is that we've created an ICO run-up platform, which is a widget which sits within the website. And what it does is, in short, it accepts fiat currency and over 50 different cryptocurrencies.
Cool.
So it allows the crypto community to be able to invest, even though they're not holding a lot, maybe an allocation of BTC or Ether, which are the main two prominent cryptos that people do use to invest. So that's great. It provides a solution on that side of things. But again, for the ICO, it reduces the costs massively. Rather than having a large team of devs being able to build this, we can insert this. We can make sure that the smart contracts written within that are secure, completely trustless from investor to the ICO itself. And one of the probably most frustrating things for ICOs is, and probably for the investors, is receiving tokens. Sometimes it could take up to like 2 months, which isn't great. And not only does that happen, and rightly so, you end up with a massive volume of emails and inquiries saying, how many tokens am I supposed to be getting and when am I going to get them? One thing that we've created is a nearly fully automated distribution of tokens back to the user.
Great. Okay.
I say nearly. The only reason why I say nearly is because we're pretty much there with Bitcoin, we're there with fiat, and we're 100% there with Ether.
Great. Okay, that's cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering, is part of this too?
Yeah, so we've got third parties who we use who have got very good reputation. They've also got very friendly user platforms, so that completing KYC and AML isn't a headache. And again, that's kind of one reason why we set up Token Lounge, was that we could become that initial gateway for people to do their KYC and AML. It's already held online, so it's a lot quicker and easier to invest into the ICOs through their generated pool. However, there are going to be some ICOs that might require some further documentation, but again, that is very, very easy to be able to do. It's just updating. So
yeah. So pretty much this is designed to make the actual business of running the currency, the cryptocurrency side of the sale, a lot easier than otherwise.
Yeah, because in the day that the people who are the founders and the team behind the ICO will end up spending a lot of their time worrying about making sure that the funds are coming in, logging how much has been invested, and trying to then equate that into when it was invested, what their bonus structure is, what volume of tokens they're supposed to be distributing.
Yeah.
Because our platform does that already all for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So they do what they're supposed to be doing and going out and promoting their project.
Great. Well, I know from our previous conversations that you've worked very hard to make that affordable. I will not get into all the details on that now, but we'll make sure that there are links that people can click in the show notes and so on later on. But before we kind of move to the sort of closing part, how do you see the future, both for Token Lounge and for this whole area?
It's a very good question. So easiest one to answer is probably Token Lounge, because we have a business plan in place. Look, our whole objective is to provide a gateway for the community, build a community where whether you're an investor, whether you're doing an ICO, whether you provide services to the industry, there's a platform for you to be able to advertise on. There's a platform for you to be able to gain access to some credible people, people who have proven concepts, and people who generally want to make sure that they're still involved within blockchain within the next 5 to 10 years. I think that's a very, very important thing. With regards to blockchain and cryptocurrencies, I can't have any view really, because I'm not in any shape or form a specialist in that industry. I think that we have to adapt, and that's one great thing that I quite like doing. We have to adapt to how the market is progressing. I think that elements of regulation will come in, which will benefit the industry. I think that blockchain solutions are slowly creeping into day-to-day life, and say from my background being in supply chain logistics, I see that as probably one of the largest areas which could benefit from, just due to documentation and also visibility throughout the whole supply chain.
Yeah, sure. I mean, one of the things I'm hearing a lot at the moment is a lot of enthusiasm for, tokenized securities. There seems to be a big rise there. Would you agree with that? Is that something that you share?
Yes. I think that look, if something's tradable for an exchange, is that a security? Probably. But I'll leave it as that.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, Mark, it's been really interesting to talk about all of that. Thank you. If there's one last thought you would like to leave with listeners, what is there? What would it be?
I think that the community is growing. There's more and more people from the traditional finance world getting involved for the right reasons, and I think everyone should embrace that.
Okay, that's great. All right, well, I said we'd return to URLs and so on. So it's tokenlounge.io.
It's tokenlounge.io. Website goes live on 18th of June.
18th of June. Okay, so not far away now, and can't wait to see it. So
Thank you very much.
All it remains to say is, Mark Kirby, thank you for your time today. We'll look forward to seeing that. Thanks.
Thank you, Barry.
ICO Radio was brought to you by author, speaker, transparency and clarity advocate, and award-winning software innovator Barry James. Get in touch with the programme, put yourself or someone else forward as a guest. Visit iconewsdesk.com. And if you've enjoyed the show, please leave a review. And don't forget to subscribe to get your next insights and interviews from the ICO Radio podcast.